Welcome back to This Week. I had the opportunity to interview President Jimmy Carter 3 times, campaigning in Peoria, Illinois in 1976, in Plains, Georgia on the day he left office in 1981, and 5 years ago when he and his wife Rosalind worked in Nashville building 21 houses for what would be his last build for Habitat for Humanity. Here now my 2019 interview with the former president.
Well, we've tried it for 36 years, as a matter of fact. This is the 36th year, and we've enjoyed all of them, but I never have seen a week end when I wasn't glad to see, the thing completed. So we're very thankful for Habitat and what it's meant to us, and the opportunity it's given us to get to know people that we would not otherwise have known.
Habitat for Humanity, obviously a wonderful charity. There's so many other charities out there. What is it about Habitat that drew you and Rosalind to this charity, to this event?
I think one thing is it lets us put our faith into action. And it's an easy transfer from being wealthy with a lot of advantages and meeting and getting to know on an equal basis the people that never have had a decent home before. So that transition is not easy to make, but Habitat makes it very easy. 21
homes here, 21 families going to have new homes. And the aspect to me that's interesting is it's not free. The volunteers that are here and the donations that are here.
They pay full price for the house.
And the people that are going to be moving in, sure, they do sweat equity. Does that give them that home ownership, that feeling of accomplishment?
I think it really does. And it forms a partnership, too, between people that never have had a decent home and one that are getting for the first time, and the ones who, like me, I grew up in a house without water and running water or electricity, and I was a teenager before I got electricity in my house. So I know what it means to live in a house, this below standards. But another thing is that Habitat makes it possible just to have complete equality of workmanship and responsibility and hard work and sweat, between people who need a house and those who have had good houses.
I know you know about hard work, being a peanut farmer from Georgia. I was a farm kid in the Midwest
where
people help their neighbors. When you see this kind of activity, this is what the world is about. This is how America gets better.
And Nashville's been a good host city because we not only have finished 21 houses, but we've raised enough money to build 59 in all. So we're at the end of this next year, we'll have 59 houses here on this site instead of 21.
Again, a great effort, but the homelessness problem, the affordable housing issue, is Habitat for Humanity the answer? Does the federal government need to do more? Do local governments need to do more?
Habitat offers the answer, but a lot of people don't listen. And I think the local people quite often do, because you can't have a fast-growing city like Nashville continue to grow if the school teachers and the firemen and the policemen can't buy a house, with the salaries they make. They have to have 2 or 3 people working in a family to afford a down payment on a new house or rental in the community. So I think everybody ought to remember that affordable housing is a very important aspect of any city that hopes to grow in the future.
Today is the 17th anniversary of you receiving your Nobel Peace Prize. What did that mean for you?
Well, that was a very gratifying thing, but I've gotten 3 Emmys, and my grandchildren think the Emmys are much more important than the Nobel Peace Prize.
That's impressive. I just found out, we just confirmed that Belmont University is going to host one of the presidential debates here in Nashville next year. They hosted one in 2008. What does that mean for the city? What does that mean for a presidential candidate?
Well, for the candidate, it's a very fearsome thing to have to undertake to get up on the stage. The first time that I did it was against Gerald Ford, the incumbent president, and for a peanut farmer from Georgia to get up on an equal basis on a stage with an incumbent, president who's been in the Congress for many years was a wonderful thing. And then later on, I'm sure Ronald Reagan felt the same way, having been a governor run against me and debating against me. So the debate site is a very important aspect of politics in America, and I think that brings out a lot of harmony, even though there's a very sharp divide during the debate itself. I think people begin to see that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, have an important role to play in the political process.
You're an optimist. We're in tribal politics. Is that ever going to end? Is it always going to be you're wrong and I'm right?
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid it's going to be that way for a long time, because I don't see the Supreme Court, reversing some of the problems with our political system. The Citizens United that opened up an unlimited amount of wealth to go into the campaign is a very disastrous thing for politics. When I ran against Gerald Ford for the first time, you know how much money he and I raised for the general election? Zero. We didn't raise a single penny. We just spent a $1 per person checkoff, and we ought to someday come back to that and have public financing, I think, of a general election. At least that would prevent some of the divisions that take place within the parties.
President Trump, right?
And then gerrymandering, you know, modifying districts, you know, in very compromising and I think almost sometimes a ludicrous way is an embarrassment to our political system as well. We have a lot of changes to make it up.
Gerrymandering is being looked at in the court. Is there hope that that gets resolved?
With the current Supreme Court, I don't think so. With a future Supreme Court, maybe.
President Trump, as you know, fighting for his survival, what's going on up there. His supporters claim that he's a victim of being persecuted because he kicks down walls, breaks norms, and governs as an outsider with impulse, while detractors say he's an out-of-control, lawless, national security endangering leader. Who's right?
I tend to agree with the detractors. And I think that President Trump has violated one of the basic principles on which I base my life, that is to at least tell the truth. But I don't think anybody would accuse President Trump of telling the truth when it's uncomfortable for him. And that's a keystone. You know, my school superintendent used to tell us when we were little children in school, we must accommodate changing times, but cling to principles that never change. And I think one of the principles that never change is at least tell the truth. Because you can't be a respected leader by all people under your leadership if they don't have confidence that what you say is truthful.
40 years ago this year, as you were president, 52 American hostages were taken hostage in Iran.
Yeah.
During your presidency, you tried to get them back. There was the failed mission in April. Some point to that as the reason you lost. And then the ultimate insult, they wouldn't let the hostages go until you were out of office. And I was in Plains that day when you smiled, just like you're smiling now. You were out of office, but those Americans were free. What was that day like for you?
That was a very triumphant day for me because I promised the people of America that I would try to keep a country at peace and honor human rights. And keeping the peace with Iran when they were holding the hostages was a very difficult challenge for me because a lot of people advised me, even my closest friends, you know, we need to bomb Tehran. But we wound up finally with peace, and all the hostages were free. So I was very, very successful eventually. You know, our country has been a nation for 243 years, since 1776. We've only been at peace 16 years. We've been at war 227 years. And that's a harsh thing to remember. But I'm glad that a number of those peaceful years were when I was in the White House.
What do you see down the road for the future of this great country? Is the turmoil of the Trump administration a blip, or is this a defining moment that may change the way the country goes?
No, I think it's a blip because down through history, our country's always been able to overcome basic problems like slavery and segregation and depriving women of a right to vote and things like that. It's taken us a long time, but eventually I think the heterogeneous nature of a makeup of America now, with everybody being an immigrant, kind of makes it possible for us to be innovative and find a way to success even when we have been under difficulty for a while. So I think that the downside that we were discussing to our political system now will be changed in the future for the better.
As we head into next year's presidential election, a lot of issues standing out there. What's the biggest issue facing this country that needs to be resolved?
I think the environmental issue is probably the worst. I would like to see our country be a champion of peace and human rights and environmental equality. And maybe the shaping of equality among American citizens. Those things ought to be the definition of a superpower. And I think our country is able to reach those pinnacles of success in politics as well as in life.
Your thoughts on health care, universal health care, or some kind of mandated health care so that Americans can live a faithful and full life?
I kind of favor the candidate's position. We say, let's keep the best part of the situation we already have.
Affordable Care Act?
Yeah, Affordable Care Act, but offer options for the future. I think that's what I like best.
As you look around here and see this optimism, is this what the country is about? Is the country optimistic? You see so much negativity on social media and such infighting, but is this the real world? Is this what America is like?
Well, when we come from watching television in a hotel room out to the site, and everybody is being treated equally, and we're proud of what we're doing for one another. There's an element of unselfishness and friendship, and even love sometimes, that kind of permeates a habitat site.
What does it mean for you and your wife to be able to give this great gift to these wonderful families who they start their lives in one of these houses?
Okay. Well, you know, we are not able to work as hard as we used to earlier.
You worked pretty hard. I saw you with the nail gun. You're doing all right.
We stick with the nail gun, but we've tried to make something, the post and other things that go on every house. So everybody that lives in a house will know that at least the Carters made some of this with their own hands.
Mr. President, appreciate your time very much. And your black eye's healing up very nicely.
It is, yeah. Well, that's what habitat site does for you. It even made my eye feel well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bob. It's been a pleasure
It's been a very pleasure to see you again. It's been 44 years. And stay with us. This week continues in a moment.